Hi, I'm Keurig Ashley, author of the international best-selling book, How Would Love Respond, and the creator and founder, well, as you know by now, of the one and only Life Success Club. And welcome to the bonus video on the program, Get Out of Your Bad Mood, How Do You Stay Peaceful During Turbulent Times, and How Do You Stay Positive when in your life you're surrounded by negativity. And I'm so proud of you that you're here on this video with me, because that means you've been going through the program, right? And right there it puts you at the top of the heap, the cream of the crop, because most people just don't follow through. You know, as I said in other videos, is that Calvin Coolidge, one of the presidents of the United States, said that the world is full of educated derelicts, right? And what that means is that most people, just about everybody knows what to do, but not many people do what they know. You know, as an example, you know, no matter where I travel in the world, you know, right now I've probably worked in with speaking engagements and live events and coaching clients and things. I think it's around 17 or 19 countries I've worked in. And yet I've done research and talked to people and, you know, from all over the world. And pretty much every country in the world has a library system, right? Like the public library. And these days, you don't even really need the library, you have Google, right? So I'm probably talking to some younger generations, they go, library, what's that? But anyways, we all know what the library is, and that's where you can get free books, right? That have, now by the way, in the library has information in those books that literally covers every topic you can ever want to learn about. So fix your car, do macrame or knitting, business, wealth creation, property financing, you name it, it's in there. Science, mathematics, personal development, everything. It's all in there, and those books are free to use. But here's the thing. Most of the people at like live events or speaking engagements that I do, you know, I ask an audience, when's the last time you were in the library? And you know the most common answer, or answers I should say, is that people say is, well, university. And I go, how long were we in university? Or, you know, how long ago was it since you've been in university? And they say, oh, that was like 15, 20 years ago. Or worse, some people say, high school. Last time I went to the library, I was in high school. And I go, how long was that? And they go, oh, 35 years ago. But here's my point. You see so many people on the planet right now in peril and in pain, right? The life hurts. Financially, you know, the separations these days between the people who have great lives and the averages, you know, people who are suffering right now, that separation is growing more than ever. Middle class is just about drying up. So my point being is that, you know, there's so many people in pain right now. I mean, obesity, overweight, out of shape is in epidemic proportions right now. Ill health. And you look like in the United States, you know, the cost of medical care and the rest of those things, it's getting out of control for people. So you would think, instead of having to worry about paying for medical expenses, that you would do everything to get yourself in shape and health and fitness and get your emotions right so you're not on antidepressants and the rest of those things. And all that information is in the library for free, but usually not many people are in a library. So here's the thing is, most people know what to do, they're just not doing what they know. And so by you watching this video, I really want to highly and sincerely acknowledge you, that you're here, that you've stuck with it with me, that I hope you've put some things into practice, because remember, that's where you're going to get the result. Knowing is not the power, it's putting into action that creates transformation, right? And I'm expecting that you do that because you're watching this video and you're here with me. And so that's why I wanted to give you this bonus video, because this next piece of the puzzle that we're going to work on today is so powerful. And I said this in the introductory video. It's so powerful, it's so mind-blowingly powerful that it in itself is a game changer. This program today, this video itself, is so powerful. You put it into action, it will change your life on so many levels. You'll go, I can't believe he just gave that to me for free. And the reason I do, and people go, why do you give so much away for free, Keurig? The truth is because I love people, and I have an abundant mind, right? And I know as you sow, so shall you reap. You put out, it comes back. I've been blessed with an amazing life. I have an amazing family. I live in an amazing place in the world. Yes, I've had ups and downs like everybody else, and I still have a real life. And yet I am so grateful and blessed by the life that I've been given, and that's because I have that abundant mindset, is give as much as you can, because I also know that one of the keys to success in life is called contribution. You know, you got to give out to get back. And it's an abundant mindset that gets you to do that. And I've always been that way. So I hope that all these videos have been of value and service to you. And like I said, is this one in itself is a game changer and has been worth your entire investment of time in this program, right? So here we go. Let's get started on it. And what I want to talk about is some of the language, you know, that we use to describe our emotional states, right? And one of those, as an example, is like back when I was, let me think. You know, I was like 21 years old. And when I was 21 years old, I went through what's called a nervous breakdown. And every day, for like close to a year, I had anxiety attacks. And I got to tell you, if you ever had an anxiety attack, it is by far the worst experience ever. You think you're going to die. You live in this massive amount of fear. You know, I had no volume in my voice. I had no sense of humor left. Everybody who loved and cared about me were really concerned. I was so bad. I was in such bad shape in those days that I went back home to Chicago. In those days I was living in Los Angeles. I went back home to Chicago to visit my family. My mom and my dad, my brothers were really concerned about me because I was like they never had seen me like this before. And so my brother Steve's like 3 years older than I am, takes me to go see a Robin Williams movie just to cheer me up. And I'll never forget this. We went downtown Chicago, went to see a Robin Williams movie. You know, funny guy, probably funny movie. And from there, we went to the beach at Lake Michigan, Oak Street Beach. I'll never forget it. And for the next 3 hours, I sobbed. I cried. I just was out of control. Bypassers, people just walking by were concerned about me because I was just a basket case. I'm just trying to paint a picture about how debilitating, you know, an anxiety attack can be. Or, you know, I hear stories of people with manic depression or bipolar or, you know, all kinds of episodes. Also, I had an aunt that got so stressed out that she never left the house. Never went outside for 13 years. She became a hermit. There's a woman I worked with in New Zealand a number of years ago. She too became a hermit for like 3 or 4 years. Wouldn't leave the house. The anxiety was so strong, the depression was so strong, it debilitated her, right? So I'm talking about some real intense emotions here, right? And so in my recovery, trying to get myself back on track, because if I didn't do something, I was going to be in real serious trouble. I mean, honestly, I don't think I'd be standing here in front of you today being able to do this video if I didn't change what I was going through. You know, either I'd be dead or I'd be institutionalized, right? Because it was that bad. And so when I started really looking for answers to get myself out of this condition known as anxiety attacks, I came across a story about a tribal culture in a country in Borneo, right? There are bush people, and they live out in the tribal people who live out in the bush. And in this story, it talked about that they don't have a word in their language for being lost. And you might be thinking, Kirk, where are you going with this? Trust me, there's a method to my madness. And I thought about that for a moment. I'm thinking, well, imagine if somebody like you and I went on a hunt with those people, right? So, you know, we're in their village and we go out with some of the hunters and we go chasing like a wild boar or some animal through the jungle, you know, and we're running through the dense brush and trees and all that stuff. And whether or not we caught the animal, we realize that it's getting dark and we can't find our way back through the jungle. Now, here's the thing. Also in this article, it said that these people, because they don't have a word for lost in their vocabulary that they feel that wherever they are, that's where God intends them to be. So here we are, we're on that hunt with them, right? We don't get back to the village because it's getting too late. We don't know where we are at that moment. We're lost, right? But only us who have that word in our vocabulary actually feel it. Because imagine to them, you're getting all upset and they're like, what are you upset about? We're lost. And they go, what's that? We don't know where we are. Yes, we do. Where are we? I don't even know who I'm talking to anymore. But basically, they're saying, we're saying, I don't know where I am, or I don't know where we are. And they go, yes, we do. And they go, no, we don't. They go, yes, we do. We're right here. We're exactly where God intends us to be. And like, yeah, but we never did make it back to our village. We didn't make it back to camp. And they're like, that's okay. So my point being is that if you don't have that word in your vocabulary, then you can't feel the experience. By the way, this is biblical. And just to let you know, is I have no religion. Right? I'm not a Christian. I'm not Jewish. I'm not Muslim. I don't have a religion. I'm very spiritual. I've studied a lot of different religions. Matter of fact, my mom was Jewish. My dad was Christian. I was just confused. But the thing is that I don't have a religion. And in the beginning of the Bible, the very first part of the Bible, it says, in the beginning is the Word. The Word is with God. The Word is God. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means, since we refer to God as the Creator, it means that the words that we choose to use create our experience. That's what that first sentence means. The Word is God. So it means that the words that we choose to use create our experience. And so when you're using intense words, listen to the intensity of this word, or words I should say, anxiety attack. Sounds pretty intense, right? When we use intense words like that, we feel the intensity. Does it make sense? And so if we change our language, right, we transform our language and we stop using words that are so intense, well, just like those people in Borneo, they don't experience feeling lost because they don't have a word to describe it. It's not in their vocabulary. So here's my point. The way that I started changing my life and getting myself out of those anxiety attacks, and by the way, the only time I ever use this language is for teaching purposes. I don't use it in my normal vocabulary anymore, right? The only way that I will ever bring it up is for teaching. I want to repeat this again. I never use it in my everyday life, ever. So what I did was, when I wanted to turn my life around back then and get out of those intense feelings, I changed the term anxiety attack to fluttering. I'm a little fluttery today. Now listen to the intensity of those two words. Anxiety attacks, well, that's two words in itself, or fluttery. Right? Now here's the thing. You might go, but that's fluttery. What is that? That's stupid. The thing is, it's less intense. Right? And if you use that word, you're going to feel less intense than when you're using anxiety attack, or hate, or rage, or anger, or disgust, or all those intense emotional words. They have an intensity to it, right? And so here's the thing. I'm a father. As of filming this video, my son is 4. I watched him be born and all that stuff. We've talked about that. The funny thing is, being an observer of a child coming from into the world to growing up, I realized that child doesn't know anxiety, doesn't know stress, doesn't know hatred. There's so many of those emotions that we get as adults, or have as an adult, that we weren't born with. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means that that's not our innate way of feeling. But what happened is, you go through this feeling in life, later on in life, and somebody says to you, oh, that's an anxiety attack. Or worse, it's your doctor. I've met so many people that their claim to fame is that they go, well, my doctor says I have the worst case they have ever seen. I'm the most clinically depressed they've ever seen. I'm the most bipolar. They always want their claim to fame to be in the worst shape possible. And because it was their doctor, some person in a white coat with some certificate on the wall, because they said that to you, you just took it on board as that's the truth. It's their truth. It doesn't have to be your truth. And I'm not knocking doctors. They serve their purpose. My point being, though, is that if we get told that's an anxiety attack and we agree with that, well, now we're going to be victims to having anxiety attacks, or to be manic depressant, or bipolar, or any of those things, right? And that puts us out of control because we can't change something that's not us. So my point being is that when I change the words from anxiety attack to fluttery, I'm feeling a little fluttery today, it's less intense of a description, which makes it easier for me to get out of. Does that make sense? And so if we start looking at those things that we don't want to feel most in life, the things we're trying to avoid most, write a list. What are the top 10 things that you're trying to avoid most in life? Right? Write those things down, and then look at those words and go, hate, anger, poverty, the rest of those things, jealousy, all those things, and instead come up with an alternate word that you're going to start using from now on that is less intense, right? So instead of saying, oh, I'm really pissed off at that person, or I really hate that person, maybe you can say is, you know what, I'm a little disappointed in them. And now you might say, well, that's not what I really feel. Well, do you really want to feel intensely bad? Is that going to help you? Is that going to get you want life? Because the truth is that the purpose of life is to enjoy it. That's it. It's not some big complicated thing. It's to enjoy it, right? And when we get caught up in those emotions, by the way, we're going to feel it, right? We're going to feel it. Buddha said that you don't get beat up for your anger, you get beat up by your anger. It's damaging you, right? Anytime we get into those intense feelings, it's damaging us. So let's not get into them. And how do we do that? Create less intense words and add those to our vocabulary and take these out of our vocabulary. So just like that culture in Borneo, we won't feel it anymore. Because remember, the words that we choose to use create our experience. So only use words that are going to make you feel good in life, and use words that are less intense so that if you're going to feel anything that's not great, it's easier to get yourself out of that emotional place and back into a great place. Does it make sense? So if it doesn't serve you, say goodbye to it. And the other thing is I look at those what's called those negative feelings, and one of the things I realized about them all is that the only thing that they really are in life, the true purpose for what those feelings are, they're a call to action. Now what do I mean by that? Well, that means that they're just trying to tell us to do something different, right? To take some action. It's kind of like the light on the dashboard of your car, the oil light. Your oil gets low in your car. It says that you're going to damage your car if you don't get more oil in it. So the warning light comes on. Well, once you look at the warning light and it says, oh, that's the oil light, and then you go put some oil in your car, the warning light goes out. Well, those emotional feelings, those negative or painful emotional feelings that we go through, that's all they are, is a call to action. They're trying to get us to do something that's going to change our life. See, because I believe that everything happens that's in this universe happens with a positive intention attached to it. And that intention is that it's getting us, or trying to get us to evolve, to become the person that we know we're supposed to become, that best version of ourselves, that most developed version of ourselves, the one that's going to create the best experience of life, right? And so we have to look at all those emotions, those ones that we're going to call our negative ones, and instead look at them as calls to action. So here's your homework, and this is what I want you to do, and this will change your game again, right? First, write the list of the top 10 things that you want to avoid experiencing most in life, right? These are those feelings that you're trying to avoid. Whether you feel them or not, by the way. That doesn't matter. I just asked you what is it that you're trying to avoid most in life? So poverty, hatred, anger, jealousy, anxiety, stress, whatever those things are, write those things down. Then come up with an alternate word to describe them. So instead of saying I'm feeling stressed, maybe I'm just feeling a little off center. Instead of anxiety, I'm feeling a little fluttery. Right? So come up with less intense feelings, and then, or less intense words to describe those feelings. And then next is, what's the call to action that these feelings are trying to get us to go do? Right? So as an example, let's say stress. Well, maybe the call to action is, it's just telling me I need to go meditate. Maybe it's telling me I need to go exercise. Maybe it's telling me I got to go stick my feet in a lake or a stream somewhere and just get back to nature. Maybe it's telling me that I need to go take a walk and do some deep breathing exercises. See, because the funny thing is, as soon as you start to do those actions, you won't feel the feeling anymore that you were going, oh God, I'm just stressed. It's my job that's making me stressed. Okay, maybe that's your truth, but if you don't want to stay in that feeling, what's the call to action it's telling you to go do that will alleviate this feeling? Make sense? And plus, if we have a less intense word that we're using to describe it, it's going to be easier to get out of. And again, then we can be free to go on and create the life we want to create, go produce the results we want to produce, and go achieve the goals that we want to achieve. Because every moment that we stay in these really negative, intense, disempowering feelings, the farther away we are getting from achieving our grand dream goals, and the farther we're getting away from enjoying our life at the level of quality that we want it to be. Make sense? I hope this was of real value to you. I hope this whole program was. I'm so honored to be on this journey with you, and I'm telling you that it's been a transformational stuff for me, this subject about getting out of your bad mood and how do you get out of your disempowering states, because it's been a game changer for me, because I went from a guy that, my brother Steve that I told you about, he used to say, Keurig, if you didn't have bad luck, you'd have no luck. Why? It's because I was always in this state, or I was in it regularly, that just kept dismantling the quality of my life and pushing me farther away from achieving the things I wanted to. Once I put this stuff into action, different life. It's completely different. I'm way more at peace. I'm way more centered. I'm way more focused. And because of that, it's been easier to become way more successful. So again, I hope this has been a real value to you. I'm proud of you for being here. I trust that you're going to put this into action. And I'd love to hear your comments. Please put comments below the video here. But also, contact me on Facebook or email me, Keurig@KeurigAshley.com. And yes, that's my real email address. Let me know what you think. Let me know how you feel. And let me know about some of your transformational results that you've produced. Until I talk with you again, have a most outstanding day.